Welcome back to this week's real estate deal breakdown. Today, I'm going to talk about a deal that just closed in New Windsor, New York on Riley Road. And hopefully you can take some value from this that you can apply in your business. So if you're not familiar with me, my name is Greg Helbeck. I've been a full-time real estate entrepreneur now for 10 years. I've done well over 325, probably almost 350 deals at this point. And the point of this podcast or YouTube channel, depending on how you're watching this or consuming this, is to share what I've learned with you through my experience so you don't have to learn it the hard way. So if you get value from this video, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you can share this with someone else, it really mean a lot to me. So let's get into this deal. So how did the deal come across our desk? Well, first of all, we originally found out about this lead through a cold call. So we ran a cold calling campaign and a caller got in touch with the owner, and the owner was asking a little bit too much money for this property, really beat up. I think they bought it at a tax auction a couple years ago, and they just were kind of stubborn on the price. So couldn't make a deal with them. So we didn't think anything of it. We just kind of turned the lead down and we're like, all right, let's move on to the next one. And turns out my buddy got the same lead and he was trying to work the seller and he ended up walking away from it. And then our other friend who, mutual friend, got the same lead from a cold calling campaign. So it seemed like this guy was just taking calls from anybody. He got the lead and he's a little bit newer in the business. He hasn't been doing it for 10 years. So he was probably working the lead a little bit harder than us, which is the right thing to do. And he's like, hey, I think we could do something here. So we ended up getting the owner to agree. I forget the price. I think it was like 100,000 or something like that. But anyway, got the owner in contract at this point, and we told the owner, we were like, hey, like, we're going to wholesale this. Like, we're not buying this. It doesn't make sense for us, but another investor might see more value in this than we do. So the owner was like, as long as I get this number, I don't care what you guys do. So anyway, I end up, having the ability to market this property to some end buyers through an assignment. So I put it out to my email list. Didn't get a lot of crazy interest on it, but I got enough demand to where I had, multiple people want to see it. Ended up showing the property a couple times. It's just vacant. They just walked in there. It was a super beat up property. I think the guy buying it for me is actually knocking it down, but this guy was serious about it. So I ended up going into contract with this buyer through an assignment agreement. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe we sold this thing. I didn't think it was going to work out because it was just a little bit of a tight deal. And it's a 15K fee split 3 ways. So not that lucrative. But hey, it's better than nothing. It's better than zero, right? So end up getting this thing into assignment and taking a lot longer than we thought to close. Turns out that buyer is having some issues with the title, whatever, is getting a loan. We're not thinking much of it. I'm like, it'll close when it closes. So the other day, I get a phone call from our paralegal at the law firm, and she said, hey, I just wanted to call you real quick. The buyer actually wants to pay you a bigger assignment fee because he's borrowing more money for this property. And in my head, I'm like, well, usually you never hear calls like that. Usually it's the other way around where the buyer needs to renegotiate, so your assignment fee might go down. So I said, yeah, how much do they want to pay? They're like, oh, they want to pay you now 25,000 instead of 15,000 because they're borrowing more money from the lender. And I said, sure, that's awesome. So now in order to increase the purchase price, they were willing to increase the assignment fee, which is unheard of in wholesaling. So I told the paralegal, I was like, yeah, of course, if they want to pay 25 grand assignment instead of 15 grand, be my guest. So we end up getting the closing statement sent to us, and it was a 25K assignment fee, which we had to pay a small commission on that. And then I'm splitting that with my two buddies. So about $7,000 each, which isn't bad. So what are some lessons you can learn on this crazy deal that you can apply in your business? Well, number one, and I've said this lesson many times and I'll continue to say it, work with your competition. I do so many deals in New York and now in Seattle with my competition because we're friendly and we get along and we know we can do better by working together. So that's number one. Collaborate with the people in your market who are cool. And I'm telling you right now, everyone will benefit. Number two, when the buyer wants to pay you a bigger assignment fee than you planned, always say yes. I know that's a ridiculous lesson, but not often, but sometimes this might happen to you, right? I don't know if any other wholesalers ever had this happen to them, but when your buyer is borrowing more money than they wanted to and they're willing to pay a higher assignment fee for that, amazing. Just take that as a win and move on to the next one. And lesson number 3 here, this is an interesting lesson. Sometimes you can't get too cute with leads. I bet you if we worked this lead harder than we did when we originally got it, probably could have gotten it at a better price and maybe we didn't have to JV it. But we were a little lazy. We kind of looked the other way. But in this case, thankfully, my buddy got the same lead and brought it to me, or else I would have never known about it. But work your leads hard, right? Some deals might not seem like deals, but if you work them hard and you follow up and you know the right people, you can turn non-deals into deals, especially in today's market. And I'm recording this in 2025. It's competitive out there. It's way harder to buy houses than it was even 3-4 years ago. So work your leads hard. They cost a lot of money or they cost a lot of time. And, all you need is one to convert to make $20,000, right? So I hope you got value from this assignment on Riley Road in New Windsor, New York. If you are in the Hudson Valley or you're in Seattle or Delaware and you have a house you want to wholesale to me or wholesale with me, just like this case, send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, or send me an Instagram DM at grego37, and I'll see you on the next REI deal breakdown. Take care.